Welcome, everybody, once again to another episode of B&B Hockey Talk. I'm Aaron Bloxel with my co-host, Mr. Matt Balzer. Today is sponsored by our monthly sponsor, our sponsor of the month of June. I don't know if that sounds right. But Flash Wireless is June's sponsor. And if you want more details on Flash Wireless, the service, or how to become a monthly sponsor, you can check us out on our Facebook page. Remember to like, share, and comment on our Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. Don't forget to like both if you can, because we love the support from all of our fans. So, Matt, lots to talk about. We had the draft here in Vancouver on Friday night and Saturday, and it didn't go, I think, the way a lot of people thought it would go, especially when Detroit's Steve Yzerman stood up and drafted Sider, who was projected to be down in the 20 range from most people. But what were your thoughts of the draft? Who do you think won? And who are your winners? Who are your losers? Share some of your draft day thoughts with us.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of reaction was actually Sider when Yzerman announced his name. I think that was a lot of the reaction to just how the draft went. But yeah, it started off as like Hughes first to New Jersey, and then Kakko second overall, and then Chicago took the big jump and took Kirby Dach third overall, but I think the one big winner is the Colorado Avalanche, especially in that first round. They took Bowen Byram with the fourth overall pick, and their defense, my goodness. Samuel Girard, Tyson Barrie, Eric Johnson, and Bowen Byram, all in the same mix. Of course, Barry's been rumored that he might end up getting traded this offseason.
And by the way, you haven't said Cale Makar yet either.
Well, no, I mentioned him. That was my second guy that I said.
So
but
Johnson,
yeah.
Makar, Barrie, Girard, and now Bowen Byram.
Yeah, it's just insane. And then they ended up getting Alex Newhook with the 16th overall pick as well. And it was great seeing all of his buddies in the stands just going absolutely nuts. But yeah, they were some winners. And then of course, the big surprise was right off the bat there with Detroit taking Sider, big right-handed German defenseman. I think there's a lot of upside. I think just listening, listening up on some of this stuff that he did. So he was a big stay-at-home defenseman in the German league, but when he was playing with the underage guys with Germany. And all that, even at the World Championships, he really showed some big offensive upside. And of course, when it comes down to Steve Yzerman, I think he knows what he's doing with what he did with Tampa Bay. Big shocker there. Trevor Zegras going to Anaheim. I think they did well getting him and Braden Tracy with their other first round pick. I think Montreal getting Cole Caulfield at number 15. You want to talk about a guy falling down the draft where I'm just like I know his height's only like 5'8" or 5'9", but when I see
don't be so generous. I think it's less than that.
Yeah, it's like when I see a guy put up 72 goals, I'm just like that's a guy I don't want to pass up too often. So I think maybe in a few years, when he's had a few years in the NHL, that could be a team that many of the teams ahead of them will regret. The one guy that I was hoping for that would fall to number 10 with the Canucks was Trevor Zegras, but he went number 9 to Anaheim, of course. The Edmonton Oilers, going other Canadian content, went with Philip Broberg at number 8. Big Swedish defenseman. I think they said he's like one of the fastest skaters in all the drafts. So the Oilers definitely need to address their defense in years to come. And I think they actually got some nice pieces now with Darnell Nurse, Oscar Klefbom, as other guys there. So, those were some winners.
Yeah, for me, the Edmonton Oilers, by the way, with that defenseman of Broberg, they have 5 prospects right now that are all defensemen. They got Caleb Jones, they got Ethan Bear, and they have Evan Bouchard. And now Broberg. I mean, they are silently putting together a pretty good defense, and I believe that's definitely, we've said it for years at how their goaltending and their defense need to be fixed before they can become contenders, and they're doing that through the draft. I think also the big winner, of course, is the New Jersey Devils, drafting Jack Hughes, #1 overall. I think he's going to be a great player, but then pulling off an absolute monster trade as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so yeah, they picked up the PK Subban from the Nashville Predators for 2 second-round picks, Steven Santini and Jeremy Davies. Santini, yeah. So it's basically like because they got to clear some salary just because they got Roman Josi on 1 year left on his contract, and of course going into free agency this year, there are rumors that they might try to go after Matt Duchene. But I would also look that they might try to move Kyle Turris this offseason to clear up some more cap space. But yeah,
and Nashville's also said they're not bringing back Wayne Simmons.
Yeah, and also Brian Boyle. I also saw that they're not bringing, or they're going to try to resign, but it doesn't look likely that they'll bring back. But yeah, Subban had 31 points in 63 games this past season. He battled through some injuries, and he didn't look like his normal self like he has the past few years. He still has 3 years left on his contract at $9 million. But yeah, so I think in New Jersey, I think the one thing that will help is that he'll be that prime #1 defenseman because we know with Nashville they got Josi, Ellis, and Ekholm all there. So we know he'll be on the #1 power play unit, which I think will help. And New Jersey's defense, I actually really like where they're going. Like on the right-hand side now, they got Subban, Vatanen, and Severson. And they got some good guys on the left-hand side with Will Butcher and Marcel Mueller and the veteran Andy Green there as well. So, and they still got tons of cap space, even with taking on Subban's contract. They still have over, I think, or close to around $25 million still left to spend this offseason. So, I'm not sure what else Ray Shero has up his sleeve, but man,
they need to sign Taylor Hall.
Yeah, that'll be the big move, and there are rumors that he might not want to look to re-sign right away, which will be an ongoing thing throughout the season, which will be interesting to keep an eye on. So I think the big thing is that if New Jersey can get some goaltending, and of course they battled through a crap ton of injuries this past season, it will be interesting to see how they go because they got some really nice pieces. Some other guys that well, of course the Canucks, they took Vasily Podkolzin. Of course, a lot of teams were scared off because of the 2 years left on his KHL deal. But as I saw that he has top 5, he was top 5 talent wise in this draft. The one thing I know that he needs to improve on is his skating. But the guy's been compared to a Timo Meier with San Jose. So at first I was a little frustrated just because I wanted them to draft either Caulfield or Matthew Boldy, who fell to Minnesota at #12. But after the reactions calm down or whatever, it's just hey, this guy has the potential to be a heck of a player in the NHL. And also just the U.S. national program.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that 7 guys in the first round, and there was 4 of them went in a row there after I think starting at number 11 or 12.
Yeah. 7 of the first 15 guys in the draft were all from the U.S. national program. But yeah, is it Spencer Knight? I think that was a great pickup by Florida. I think he's the highest drafted goalie since Jack Campbell in 2010. That was by the Dallas Stars. So, and he's a heck of a stick handler from the video that I saw. I was just he was pulling off dangles around some Russian players. So it's just I wouldn't even want to attempt that. But that.
Me, I don't want you to attempt it either.
Mm-hmm. Oh man. And then two other guys I'll bring up, Peyton Krebs, who actually fell all the way to 17. I thought he would have been closer into the top 10, but coming off that Achilles injury, I think that helped, helped teams that were higher in the draft take a chance on him, because I think from what I heard, Brian Burke brought it up in the broadcast, usually it's a 100% recovery. Guys, as soon as they come back, there shouldn't be any issues. And also Tampa Bay, they took Nolan Foote, who is also his brother Cal Foote was a first round pick by the Lightning a couple years ago. So so it's just crazy that they both got drafted in the first round by the same team.
He hired Adam Foote in the front office somewhere, I'm sure.
Yeah. It'll be a big year for both of the Footes in Kelowna, because they're hosting the Memorial Cup this coming season. So it'll be big there. And it looks like Cal Foot could be potentially even making his rookie debut this year in Tampa Bay. So those were some of the big moves. But yeah, like the big winners were the U.S. national program. And there's some really nice players to look forward to in the coming years here.
Yeah, well, we had some other draft day announcements. It was kind of fun when Bettman came out, and of course, Vancouver fans absolutely hate Gary Bettman. They let him have it like they always do, and then to try to stop them booing him, he decided to go back out and said, "Oh, I got a surprise for you." Brings out Daniel and Henrik Sedin, and it was kind of funny because the crowd kept booing. There was a few cheers, but they didn't care. They can see right through it, but. Some cool announcements with the Canucks announcing that they're going to retire Daniel and Henrik's jerseys in February of next year. And Alex Burrows has been announced as well as somebody that's going to be inducted into the Ring of Honor in Vancouver. Outside of that, though, there's also some great trades. Patrick Marleau getting moved, as well as JT Miller getting moved from Tampa Bay. Why don't you fill us in on those, as well as some of the other moves that have happened in the last 72 hours around the NHL.
All right, yeah. So the Toronto Maple Leafs needed to make the cap space to get Kapanen, Johnsson, and Marner under new contract. So they traded Marleau and a first-round pick in 2020 and a seventh-round pick in 2020 to the Carolina Hurricanes for a sixth-round pick in 2020. So this was a pure salary dump. Marleau has a 1 year at $6.25 million, and it looks like he could potentially be bought out by the Hurricanes. But I did see something that they might try to convince Marleau to play next year in Carolina. But it looks like the rumors is that he'll get bought out and you'll look to sign a cheap deal with the San Jose Sharks. And on that with Johnsson and Kapanen, it's nothing confirmed, but it looks like they will both be signing deals around the 3 to 4 years at somewhere between $3.25 to $3.5 million a year. So that's something to keep an eye on. Of course, the Vancouver Canucks. Usually, the host team makes a big splash, and they acquired JT Miller from the Tampa Bay Lightning for a conditional first-round pick in 2020 and a third-round pick in this year's draft. And Marek Mazanich, who is a depth goalie. The condition on the first round pick is that if the Canucks don't make the playoffs this coming year, then it becomes a first round pick in 2021.
I love the player. Hate the giving up the pick. And I know lots of fans are upset about it. Some fans are happy about it because and as a Canucks fan, I'm happy about it only because it means they're going for it. They're going to try to make the playoffs again, and they haven't been in the playoffs in 5 years now. It'll be they're all in, I think, now. So
yeah. So Miller has 4 years left on his contract at a $5.25 million cap hit. I was actually looking because they were comparing him to Kevin Hayes. In the past 5 years, they literally have like the exact same stats, except Miller scored 2 less goals. So if you look at the Hayes deal where he's getting paid over $7 million and Miller's making 5.25, so it's actually a pretty good deal. And he's a 3-time 20-goal scorer. I know last year he had a bit of a down year. He only scored 13 goals, but still had 47 points in 73 games. So he'll be good in the top 6. He can play center. He can play wing. And he should help the top 6. But yeah, it's like my thing was the first round pick because everybody knows Tampa Bay is in a cap crunch. So everybody's just like, you shouldn't have to give up a first round pick. You should be able to work your way around where you can take the player. And of course, like what I thought is like they could have taken the Ryan Callahan contract or another bad contract that they were wanting to get rid of. So they can so Tampa Bay can re-sign like Braden Point and some of their other restricted free agents. And that brings us to another trade that happened.
Sorry, just on that trade, at some point I wonder how much the ownership is meddling with the ability of Jim Benning to make these trades, because maybe they have looked at taking on extra cap space, but the Aquilinis don't want to pay it. I think that's a big possibility, and and we've all heard in the Vancouver market that it sounds like the Aquilinis told Jim Benning that if they don't make the playoffs this year, he's going to be out of a job. And I hate that. I hate seeing that. I know Brian Burke uttered the same thing on the radio, on Vancouver radio here. But I do see the Canucks needing to make that push when they have talented players like Elias Pettersson and Brock Besser that are going to be bona fide superstars in this league if they stay healthy.
Yeah, and that's the thing, because like people bring up like Buffalo and Edmonton, where it's just like, well, you have to be crap for a few years before you finally get better, and stuff like that. And it's like, but eventually you have to get better one way or the
They
other.
had 200-point players last year at Edmonton, and they still didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's just like for me, it's just like you gotta find the balance where it's just like you want to still continue to develop, and I just think there's smarter ways to go about getting better and still trying and still improving the team on top of that. So, but yeah, and the one thing that I will bring up, with the trade today, the Carolina Hurricanes sent Calvin DeHaan and Alexi Sorella, who's one of their top prospects, to the Chicago Blackhawks for Gustav Forsling and Anton Forsberg. Both of those guys are restricted free agents. DeHaan has 3 years left on his contract at $4.55 million. He just signed with Carolina this past offseason. And then Sorella had 30 goals and 54 points in 69 games in the American League, and also had 15 points in 17 games and won the Calder Cup with Carolina's farm team. And then Forsling had 3 goals, 9 points in 43 games, and Forsberg spent the last year in the American Hockey League. He had a .919 save percentage, which is pretty good. And the year before, he spent the entire year with Chicago, with Crawford being injured for most of the year. So both of those guys, we'll see if they get qualified. I think Forsling will be put. But the one thing that I saw from a Vancouver media guy, Harman Dial, he's actually the super young guy, but on the Athletic, a lot of his stories are just incredible for what he produces. But what he posted, comparing it to the JT Miller trade, it's like, it's almost as if you can negotiate to pay below market value for good players when other teams is looking to clear cap space, which is it's just like exactly, it's just like to show this to Jim Benning or whatever. But it's just like, yeah, but as you brought up, it's like, you don't know how much the Aquilinis are butting in, and people have suspected the Aquilinis, even though they deny it, that they do meddle in the Canucks affairs a lot. So. But yeah, that was one thing. And the last trade to bring up was also from today. Ryan Hartman got traded from the Philadelphia Flyers to the Dallas Stars for Tyler Pitlick. Pitlick has 1 year at $1 million, and Hartman is a restricted free agent. They're both similar players, so I think Hartman was asking for a little bit more money than what the Flyers were willing. So they basically get the same player except on a cheaper deal. And Hartman looks like, I think the Stars have been trying to replace Antoine Roussel and sort of what he brought to them, and he should be that type of player.
Hartman is a bit of a pest for sure. The NHL has their pre-free agency talks have opened. Teams are not allowed to talk to potential free agents. Lots of rumors going around out there. Pavelski's talking to teams. Over 10 teams interested in Corey Perry. We've got, Tyler Meyer is in Vancouver talking to Vancouver today. I'm sure him and his agent are going to multiple cities. But what have you heard and what have you seen so far?
Yeah, so the big two, of course, are Artemi Panarin and Sergei Bobrovsky. Both flew to Florida, and I believe they're either meeting with the Panthers today. I believe today they met with the Panthers to get their pitch. I think Bobrovsky's the main guy there for Florida that they're going to try to chase. I think that they're going to hope to try to get both, but if they're going to try to choose one, it's going to be Bobrovsky. I've also seen Colorado's name popping up on the Panarin front, because they got a crap ton of cap space to work with, even though they still got to re-sign Mikko Rantanen to a new deal as well. Also, yeah, you brought up Corey Perry. It looks like Chicago, Nashville, and Dallas are potential some of the potential top teams there. Carl Gunnarsson, apparently a lot of teams are showing interest in him, even though the Blues are still in on Gunnarsson as well. Matt Duchene is taking calls yesterday and today on teams that are interested in him. Of course, we brought up earlier that Nashville could be a potential fit, even though I don't think he's counted out returning to Columbus. But with all the big guys leaving there, I'm not sure if he'll want to leave after spending many years outside of the playoffs. I think he wants to go to a contender.
Hmm.
And of course, sticking with Nashville looks like I'm sorry, lots of Wayne Simmons and Brian Boyle looks like they're both will be leaving. Matt Zuccarello is also a player that's looking exploring free agency. With the Canucks, we brought up Tyler Myers met with them last night, but they're also showing interest in Jordy Ben, Patrick Nemeth, and Gustav Nyquist, which I'd be interested in. Apparently, Nyquist, they could be going on a big deal, like just for like 2 years, but overpaying, which I think would be perfect in that 2-year range before they have to give Pedersen and Hughes their new deals. And Robin Leonard was another guy, but he said he's not taking talks from anybody. He's looking to re-sign with the Islanders, basically no matter what. And Anders Lee, I think Chicago was a team that was looking at him, even though I think Lee really wants to return to the Islanders. But he could be on the move. And of course, Joe Pavelski, who you also brought up. It looks like Dallas. And I did see Pierre LeBrun brought up Tampa Bay as well, but I'm still not sure what their situation. It's just, I still can't believe how many good players are rumored to go to Tampa, because like Erik Karlsson's name was being brought up. It's just like, I don't know how they'd be able to get around it. But even last year with the John Tavares sweepstakes, like they were brought up in that. It's just like, I don't know, they just always seem to be in. But those are the big rumors, the rumorville going on right now. And just one thing to bring up is that the salary cap has been set for this coming season at $81.5 million. The floor is $60.2 million. There's only one team over the cap right now, which is the Vegas Golden Knights. They're at $83 million. And it looks like it's not official yet, but it looks like they're re-signing William Karlsson to a max 8-year deal with a cap hit of $5.9 million. And they'll be a team that will definitely be looking to trade some players. Apparently, the Arizona Coyotes have been looking at or calling on a lot of their players, such as Jonathan Marchessault and Eric Holla. And I know Colin Miller's name's been brought up in trade rumors around the NHL as well. So
same with Cody Eakin.
And Cody Eakin, yeah. So there's a lot of Vegas has to do something to drop some salary. And right now there's only I think with Philly signing Travis Sanheim got a 2-year extension with the Flyers at a $3.25 million cap hit, which brought them up to past the salary cap floor. But there's only 5 other teams that need to reach that salary floor right now. So. And then the last big thing is that the Hockey Hall of Fame announcement will be tomorrow. Will be announced. Some of the potential names. Well, the one lock for women's hockey is Haley Wickenheiser. I think that's a slam dunk. But some of the players: Vincent Lecavalier, Daniel Alfredson, Sergei Zubov, Curtis Joseph, Alexander McGinley, Patrick Elias, Theo Fleury, Jeremy Roenick. Just to name a few, those are all guys that have potential to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Some guys have been waiting a lot longer than others, but yeah, there's a lot of guys that could be potentially be going or being announced tomorrow.
Yeah, that's tomorrow, and then of course, free agency Christmas Day, as we call it, is in a week from today. So. Yeah, so that's going to end today's show. Remember to like, share, and comment on our Facebook page or our YouTube channel, which is B&B Hockey Talk. For Matt, I'm Aaron. Thank you again for supporting us, and we invite you to continue to join us each and every week as we bring you multiple shows throughout the hockey season and the summertime, of course, because hockey never sleeps. It is an incredible universal game. So thanks for joining us, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's edition. Let us know about who you think below in the comments who won the NHL draft, or what you thought your favorite team could have done better. So that would be great. And that'll help us with our next episode on Wednesday of this week. So we'll see you then. Have a great evening, and we'll catch you on our next episode.